And I'm back, trying again to set up this live video. Thank you for being here, thank you for waiting for me. We'll see how it goes this time round. And in the background this time we can hear Jan Tiersen, which, if I'm not wrong, is a French composer again. And that's from the movie. Who can recognize that melody? It was, I think, around, oh my god, over 20 years ago that movie was released in Europe, a French movie. Can you guess the title? It was about actually a girl, a woman, a young woman, who was making changes in her life. But those changes are a bit sort of made in a very beautiful setting of a French town. I don't think it was happening in Paris because Paris is so huge and that town seemed very small, but maybe it was Paris. Do you know the title of the movie and of the protagonist? Amélie, that was the title. And that woman, Amélie, the main character in the movie, was making changes, but it was a bit out of beautiful, stereotypical, because it was connected with falling in love and stuff like that. What I want to speak about today is not about falling in love and making change in your life because you're meeting that special person. It's more to do with finding out who you are and becoming the special person to yourself. Why? Because you deserve making your life accordingly to what you love, who you are, what you want to share with others, and how would you like every aspect of your life to be aligned with the true core of yourself. So it requires, first of all, finding out who we really are, how to change our lives. Can we really change our life if we don't know ourselves very well, if we don't know what we really like, if we are not sure what we can agree to, what kind of compromises we are ready to take, and for what reason? Because if we are really committed, really determined, really ready to work hard, the reason for it must be clear to us. And many people find themselves at some point depressed or lost or not sure where things went wrong, simply because they haven't thought through why they're doing things the way they do. Why do they choose that career, that partner, that place to live? If you are clear about your reasons why you choose to do something that is a long-term commitment, be it your dream, your goal, your relationship, your work, your children, your close ones, or any other reason, it can be a charitable reason. Maybe you have started a foundation and you protect animals or environment or the rights of people who are vulnerable around the world or in your own country. Whatever it is that you commit to work towards long term, you need to know very well your reasons, your values. Why is it that you want to do it? Because only in this way you will be able to persevere in your goal. And now the big difference between making our dreams come true and working towards our goals comes from two opposite polarities of a spectrum of human emotions. So on the one end of that spectrum is fear. People often choose things because of fear. It's not always fully realized by them. They're not fully aware why they choose that partner, that career, to have children, to live in a particular place in the world. Often they just repeat what they've learned from their parents. So this is quite unconscious. This is the beginning. And often there is fear underneath. Fear of finding out who are you beyond what you have learned about yourself at school and in your family. What you were told that you are, what you were told to do with your life. For example, many women in our culture are convinced that the only way for them to be successful and to be happy is through having a family and becoming a mother. It can be part of your happiness, but ultimately it cannot fulfill the whole of you, because you are much more than just a one aspect of your life. And at some point, your children will become adults and leave you. They will be busy starting their own families or pursuing their own goals, their own happiness, and they have the right to do so. What does it mean to you? To many, it means that they start seeing who they are or who they can be beyond that role of a mother. Now, the other stereotype on another end of that is to commit fully to your career, making money, ensuring you have a position in a society or in a group or in a community or at least in your family as a father and as a worker and as a boss and as maybe a manager or somebody with a good position, good salary, and so on and so on. That's also a stereotype. A human being is never just one thing, and often at some point when you've achieved a lot, often in your 50s, if you are a man, you might start feeling a bit empty and burn out and not sure what to do next, because everything's done, right? You have achieved, you were successful. Who are you beyond that? So there are two stereotypes for women and for men in our culture, still very, very strong, that if you are a man, career should be most important to you, and if you are a woman, becoming a mother should be more important. But a human being is never just one thing. And in the background we can hear Fabrizio Palterlini, that's an Italian composer. The title of that piece is Lifeblood, which I think says a lot about the inspiration that he finds and seeks for in his work as a pianist and composer. Lifeblood. So you are more than those stereotypes and those ideas about where you should find fulfillment. So if you found fulfillment by becoming a mother or pursuing career or both, at some point you start feeling like, is this everything about me? You're completely right. This is not everything about you. As a human being, you have a capacity to grow, to learn, to reach for more, to find out more about yourself. So when we start as adults, we have that kind of package from our parents, from our school, from our culture and environment that tells us what we can achieve, where you can get, who we should be. And often unconsciously, we buy into it and start realizing it in our life. It took us quite a while to get to the point when we feel like some doubt or questions start arising in ourselves. Is it everything about ourselves? Is that what we really want? Does it fulfill us? Are we happy? What else are we? Jean-Michel Blais, Outsiders, that's another piece that's in the background this time round. I have skipped the beginning of it because there was a little dialogue between the composer and the person who was interviewing him. And I'd like to briefly come back to what I've mentioned before, that there are two emotions on the spectrum of reasons of human behavior, and on one end of that spectrum is fear. Another one, excitement. So the reason why you decide to pursue something might come from somewhere along that line. Fear, excitement. Where is it today? Are you excited for making changes, or are you afraid of not making them, or are you afraid of something that perhaps now that you have more life experience and you know your capacities and skills, and you have a range of resources that you worked towards so far, and you have achieved them and figured them out, perhaps now you can look in a more honest way at the reasons why you have made certain choices in your life, and find time to look at the reasons why you want to make changes. Changes require work and dedication, but perhaps you've learned that already. Excuse me, because by pursuing any goals this far, even if they weren't fully aligned with yourself, you've learned already a few skills that you can now transfer to other areas of your life, perhaps some that are not discovered yet, that you'd like to look at and explore. So usually at the end of my live videos, I give little tasks that you can take with you and explore on your own in your free time. And I usually advise to dedicate at least a week to each of those tasks, ideally 3 weeks, or more if you wish to, you can come back to it, and to start a notebook and to write down what you think, what you feel, because in this way you can trace the changes and develop this process even further and take it deeper. So the task today seems very simple again, but in the simplicity there is a power. Ask yourself a question at the end of the day. What is the change that I need? And what is that I am ready to let go of? Those 2 questions. And then during the day, the next day, come back to that question during the day. Now my advice is to choose a very small thing for both of those questions. Something small that you want to change, and something small that you are ready to let go of. It's very helpful to do something that is a bit challenging, but not too challenging. So if you want to start running 3 times a week, that might be too much. But you can choose to literally get out of the house once a day for 5 minutes. You don't have to run, but put trainers on. Only this to start with. Just remember your intention, that you want to do running 3 times a week. Start with something smaller than that. Get out of the house in trainers. That's just an example. Another example, if you want to pose more often, literally sit down with a cup of tea once a day for 5 minutes, putting your phone down. Ideally, you are on your own. If it's not possible at home, you need to find that 5 minutes on the way back home from work. Literally, you stop in a cafe or you go for a walk in the city park. Now the weather is changing. Summer and spring arrives in Europe, so we have that possibility to spend more time in the fresh air. Literally for 5 minutes, you're not looking at your phone. You're not even thinking about all the tasks and what was happening during that day and what you need to attend to when you come back home. Or if you have that possibility, you do it at home when kids are already sleeping. You literally sit for 5 minutes, switch off that TV, you're not talking with your partner, you're not talking with your mom on the phone, you're not texting your friends, you're not going on an online dating portal, you're not doing extra work. For 5 minutes, you're drinking your cup of tea. Seems small, seems simple. Have you tried it? I can really recommend it. It is a change. Any small thing that you do for yourself because you've promised yourself to do it, when you take time to reflect, to breathe, to look at your life, at yourself, at your thoughts and feelings, will bring a further change in your life, because you will become more accustomed to your feelings and thoughts. You will get to know yourself, and you will learn how to more love yourself, more respect yourself, respect your wishes, respect your feelings. Taking yourself seriously. You are an important person to yourself. Another thing that can be quite small at the beginning but can bring long-term profound changes is to start saying out loud, asking people for a favor. It can be very small, or it can be a question, an invitation. It can be something bigger. And being open to them refusing, but also being open to them saying yes to our question, or we can ask for advice. We can also ask if they would like to do something with us together, even something quite big, like go for holidays together, like two families, for example, right? Maybe visiting an auntie in the countryside over the weekend. Maybe instead of you taking care of kids on Sunday, it's gonna be your partner this time round, and you will do something else. Changing things. Changes at the beginning might seem small, but over time they become bigger. And take that notebook. Ideally, find yourself something that you like in an art shop or bookstore. Get yourself a nice pen and look at your questions, make your own questions, or you can use the ones that I give you in those live videos. And every day you look in your notebook and you write down. Just one sentence is enough at the beginning. In this way you'll create a habit of spending more time looking at yourself, where you are today, where you were yesterday, and where you want to go, where you want to be tomorrow. And I think we're gonna finish that live video with Martin Herzberg. I'm not sure, I think a German composer, if I'm not wrong. The title of the piece is Wir tanzen, we dance. So I guess Martin Herzberg is a German composer. Wir tanzen. Life is a dance. What you do with it, which steps you're gonna take, who you're gonna invite to dance with you, who you're gonna let go of with gratefulness perhaps, or with at least honesty, is your choice. You have a choice. And the more time you spend reflecting, the more choice you'll be able to create. That's everything for today. Thank you for being here. My name is Agnes Jasmin. I am an artist and author of Empowerment Through Creative Process Coaching for individuals and groups. If you would like to sign up for an online session from now until the end of April, then a bit discounted, so I'm making things a bit more affordable because the prices are actually raising, at least in the UK. And I'm doing the opposite for my clients. So at the moment you can access an online work with me for an hour for only £100 or £80 for 50 minutes. That's till the end of April. And if you are a professional organizer and you would like me to run a full-time workshop for a weekend for your group somewhere in Europe, you can also email me and we can look at my availability and your group, the needs of your group, the venue and stuff that will be suitable for us both. I'm quite flexible as long as there is enough time to plan things. So thank you so much for watching me again. I hope that these live videos come as an aid in your journey, in your process of self-development, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you here again. Enjoy your Sunday and see you soon.